The 21st century is definitely the century of innovation, development, and ideation. Trends in technology, education, and economics are moving towards automation. This revolution that the world is going through and that is most felt in the workplace would not have been possible without the preparation of the new generation who in the future will be the flourishing instruments of a dynamic modern world. When we say the preparation of young people for a new society and new economy, we refer to some skills which are vital in the individual growth of each of them, physically and mentally, and the benefits of which are felt not only in the individual but also those who surround it. These skills are also known as 21st century skills, a long list of soft skills, learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills. Our topic as per today is understanding the philosophy of education for the 21st century teachers. Do you think it should be changed? So let me discuss more about this with our panel today. Let me introduce our first panel, Ms. Nurul Atikah Bujang. Second panel, Ms. Haslinda Chek. And our last but not least, introducing our last panel is Ms. Hamimah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day I wish to all of you. With me, Aisah Asan, as a moderator for our forum today. Welcome to our forum. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me discuss about the characteristic of the students of the 21st century from our first panel, Ms. Nurul Atikah Bujang.
Thank you, Ms. Aisah. I'm glad to be here today. So I'm going to discuss about the characteristic of the student of 21st century. In the 21st century learning environment, as the students are shifting their role from just being consumers of information or knowledge. So do the teacher as their roles change in teaching and learning in digital and network age. Unlike traditional methods of teachings, where the focus was on didactic instructions, the teacher of 21st century are mentors who facilitate the process of knowledge discovery and reinforce the attainment of 21st century skills and knowledge by using one of the active learning principles. Example, inquiry, user design, and constructivism. The 21st century learning environment also reflects the need for the teachers to be more active in linking together the formal and the informal environment.
Thank you, Ms. Atikah. We are able to know what is characteristic of the students of 21st century. Now, let me hear from our second panelist, Ms. Linda, about the characteristic of teachers of 21st century.
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. In the 21st century learning environments, technology becomes an essential feature of learning. It allows teachers to access the best teaching materials available. The vast array of delivery methods allows students to choose the best way for how and when they learn. Effective and appropriate integration of technology is learning. Learning is a powerful tool that can be used to motivate students as they self-direct their learning, explore, participate actively in the acquisition of knowledge and understanding, engage in social interaction to develop connection not just with the topic at hand but also with other students, critically evaluate the experience and develop higher level thinking. These are 21st century skills that are key factors to be successful in work and life.
Thank you, Ms. Linda. So now, let me hear from our third panelist, regarding this characteristic of school of 21st century.
Thank you, Miss Aisah. 21st century school must prepare students to be wise consumer and information and confident producer of knowledge. The 21st century student population are more heterogeneous than in the past, which means the school need to become more responsive to diverse cultures, language, experience, economics, and interests, and do this in ways that provide equity of access to dynamic learning experience to meet the need of all learners. Current research suggests that the best vision of a 21st century classroom is centered on the learners' knowledge assessment, interaction, and the classroom community. National Research Council 2000 years ago, technology when used effectively can support teachers and students in a variety of ways, including co-curriculum, planning, differentiated learning opportunities, assessment development, and meeting the need of a diverse students population.
Thank you, Ms. Hamimah. Well, from what Ms. Hamimah said, let me highlight the reason why 21st century skills are very important for today learners.
The philosophy major prepares students for a wide variety of careers by imparting knowledge and skills that are valuable to almost all employers. This is critical because the average employee in the 21st century is almost certain to change careers, not just a job, several times in his or her working life. Having valuable knowledge and skills that are broad and wide make one very flexible and able for a rapidly changing job market. The study of philosophy improves one's capacities to think critically and creatively, to appreciate complexity, to feel comfortable with diversity and disagreement, to work cooperatively and collaboratively with others, to communicate effectively both in writing and orally, to read with understanding complicated and complex material, and to solve problems. A liberal arts education doesn't just train you for a job, it gives you the tools to make a living and to make an intellectually rewarding life.
Wow, such a good explanation. So, now let me hear from Miss Linda.
Next 2 days, learners might be able to solve real-world problems. Learning to solve real-life problems is a critical skill that one needs to be successful in the 21st century. It becomes more important as children grow up and go out in the real world to pursue their goals, get married, and raise kids. They need to be able to understand and resolve any conflict without having someone hold their hand through the trials and tribunals of life. This is why the problem-solving skills students learn in the school needs to be practical enough for them to apply in the real world.
Yes, I agree with your point. Let me hear from Ms. Hamimah now about the importance of 21st century skills for today learners.
Thank you to others panelists. So, I'm going to add on under the importance of 21st century skill. The important is to understand other people's perspective. Being able to understand another individual perspective and seeing the world through someone else's eyes is helpful for any relationship or social interaction. With students asking the right question and viewing the world by putting themselves in another person's shoes, they can gain a better perspective while also expanding their worldview. This in turn helps kids to view and solve complex problems efficiently. Other than that, students can communicate and listen respectfully. Communication is the key to any healthy relationship, which is why children need to learn to not only listen actively but also communicate respectfully even when there are disagreements. Learning to communicate well allows students to build stable relationships while also learning to deepen healthy discussion. Learning to communicate well, therefore, is an important skill that is critical to function in multicultural and multilingual environment present in classroom or daily life.
So, as a conclusion for our topic today, let me summarize. Either we should change our 21st century skills nowadays. Let me hear from Miss Atikah on behalf of our panelists today.
Thank you, Miss Aisha. So let me conclude. Based on all points given by our panelists today, we can all agree that the world is changing pretty fast and students need to be able to keep up with this pace. Thus, as the world is changing, students need to change with it. In fact, students are going to be at a disadvantage if they are not equipped with the proper 21st century skills. Advancements in technology, shift in the job market, and global challenges necessitate adjustment to how education is delivered. Thus, adapting the philosophy of education to better prepare students for the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century is generally considered necessary. This might include more emphasis on digital literacy, adaptability, and global awareness as mentioned earlier. Ultimately, the philosophy of education should be dynamic framework that responds to changing landscape of knowledge and society. I think that's all my point. And we believe that 21st century skills is we need to make it stay so that our today learner can become more value person in the future, inshallah.
Inshallah. Last but not least, I agree that we now need to change 21st century skill and improve it in future. Well, I think that's all from us today. Thank you for lending your ears for our forum. Once again, thank you to our panelists for your presence.
Thank you for inviting us, and we hope we can meet all of us in the future.
Yeah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.